You know, you're literally surrounded by them right now. They're in your phone, in the building you're sitting in, the car that gets you around. We're talking about the silent giants, the elemental pillars that hold up our entire civilization.
So think about this for a second. Take a massive skyscraper, touching the clouds, the smartphone that's probably in your hand right now, and a brand new electric car. What's the one fundamental thing that connects all three of them?
If you're thinking technology or maybe electricity, you're definitely on the right track. But the real, physical answer is, well, it's way more fundamental. It's not the software, it's the hardware. At their very core, all of these things are built from a surprisingly small group of just 10 critical metals. And today, we're going to dive into what they are and why they matter so much.
Okay, let's start with the absolute heavyweights. Our first group is what I like to call the titans of scale. These are the metals that form the literal industrial backbone of our world. Now, when we talk about metals, it is not an even playing field. Not even close. You see that massive bar right there? That's iron. It absolutely dwarfs everything else. Aluminum comes in at a distant second, and all the other metals we rely on, they're just that tiny little sliver at the very end. Our world, without a doubt, runs on iron more than any other metal, period. And here's why. Iron is the undisputed king. Once you mix it with a little carbon to create steel, it becomes the very skeleton of our civilization. It's the rebar inside our skyscrapers, the chassis of our cars, the massive hulls of our container ships. Without iron, the modern world would just crumble. But, brute strength isn't everything. Meet iron's essential partner, aluminum. It's the second most produced metal for a very good reason. It's strong, but it's also incredibly lightweight, and, this is key, it doesn't rust. That's why it's absolutely perfect for airplanes, for making cars more fuel efficient, and yeah, even for that soda can in your hand. It's the lightweight champion of the metal world. So, we've covered the big, structural giants. Now, let's shift gears. We're moving from the world's backbone to its nervous system. Our next group is all about powering the future. These are the conductors of progress. This trio right here, they're driving our whole technological leap forward. First up, copper, the absolute workhorse of electricity. It's in pretty much every wire and circuit board. It is the nervous system of the digital age. Then you've got nickel and lithium, the new power couple for the green transition. Why them? Because they are the secret sauce for creating batteries with high energy density. That just means packing more power into less space, which is absolutely crucial for making electric vehicles practical and for storing renewable energy. These aren't just commodities anymore. They are truly strategic assets for the 21st century. But how does a hunk of rock from deep in the ground actually get into your phone? Well, it all starts with these massive mining operations to extract the raw ore. Then it goes through some really complex, energy-intensive processing and refining to get that pure element. From there, it's manufactured into a specific component, like a battery or a tiny microchip. And finally, it ends up powering the device in your hand. It's a long, globe-spanning journey, that's for sure. All right, our final group of metals is a fascinating one. They aren't produced on the same colossal scale as iron, but their highly specialized jobs make them every bit as critical. These are the protectors, the connectors, and the assets. Let's start with two everyone knows, gold and silver. But here's the thing, they play very different games in the global economy. Gold is, for the most part, an asset. It's a safe haven, a store of value that central banks and investors hold on to protect against uncertainty. Silver, on the other hand, is a total hybrid. It's a precious metal, for sure, but it's also an industrial powerhouse. It's one of the best electrical conductors out there, making it absolutely critical for electronics and solar panels. It really does live in two worlds at once. And now for the real unsung heroes. Industry would just grind to a halt without these guys. Zinc is the guardian. It's most often used to coat steel in a process called galvanization. It basically acts as a sacrificial layer. It corrodes first to protect the steel underneath. Pretty cool, right? Then there's tin, the ultimate connector. Its low melting point makes it the perfect solder, which is really just the metallic glue holding all the tiny components on our circuit boards together. And lead, well, despite its reputation, it's still the power source behind the battery in most gas-powered cars, providing that huge electrical surge needed to start the engine. So, we've met our 10 pillars. They seem incredibly strong, right? Rock solid? But here's the catch. These pillars are actually more fragile than they appear. Our deep reliance on them comes with some very real and very serious global risks. So here's a critical geopolitical reality that's emerging. A huge slice of the production pie for a bunch of these metals, think aluminum and also those rare earths used in electronics, it belongs to a single country.
When the global supply of such essential materials is so heavily concentrated, it creates a massive dependency and huge supply chain risks for everybody else. We've actually seen this play out when nations threaten to restrict exports, turning basic materials into a form of political leverage.
And that concentration risk is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. We're really facing three major challenges. First, as we just saw, there's supply chain dependency. Second is the environmental impact. I mean, getting these metals isn't a clean process. Mining can use vast amounts of water and energy, and that raises huge sustainability questions. And finally, market volatility. The prices of these metals can swing wildly based on global events, creating a ton of economic instability for entire industries.
You know, this quote really just nails it. These 10 metals aren't just materials. They are the literal pillars of our modern world. They are completely, utterly indispensable to our economy, our technology, and at the end of the day, our strategic resilience.
So here's the big thought I want to leave you with. We've built our entire global civilization on these 10 pillars. But as our technology evolves, as we demand greener energy and faster computers, which of these pillars is going to start to wobble? Which one will be the first to fall or maybe even be replaced by some new material we haven't even really considered yet? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.